G'day again. So the last video we looked at the instant ground button, what it did with ferrite responses on the detector. And today we're going to have a look at the salt response. So we've got here it's 2 litres and it's a saturated solution of salt. So we put so much salt in it that there's a bit in the bottom there that's not dissolved. I don't know if you can see if it's going to focus on that, but there's some salt rolling around in the bottom. There it is. It's because there's so much salt in solution that no more can dissolve in the water. So we've got 2 litres of that, and we're going to present that to the coil. It's up here, our trusty Minelab coil. And we've got the detector we used last time. That was the ferrite we used last time. And I am not wearing a ring. So the last video I had a ring on and I had to take it off halfway during the video. And we've got the Python app running. There's actually about 100 things we can do inside the detector from the firmware, various commands and things we can send, but I only include the commands I need on the Python script to that we need to demonstrate something. So we're gathering the processed signals, target signals here from the firmware, from the detector through the USB bus. And we've got some commands down the bottom where we can do various things, but I'll just be, say, adjusting the threshold here. So the threshold, I don't know if you can hear the detector chiming, but there's a bit more filtering inside the detector, but this adjusts the threshold at which the detector will indicate a target. I've got the volume on high. We've got a quick track button. All that does is readjusts the target signal within the threshold. It's just to keep the audio, but it's pretty stable, as you can see. It's not bouncing around. Like, we're in a pretty noisy environment here, and we're looking at same as last time, 1 part in 10 million, and the threshold is set to 0.6. Those figures, that's the scale of the signal processing after it's gone through the ADCs and things. So yeah, so anyway, last time we presented a ferrite, and today we're going to present the salts and see what we can do there. So we've got our salt here, and we're going to now present it to the coil. I'll just have a look what that does, and there you go. There was a response due to the quite conductive nature of the salty water. A lot more salty than seawater. I think seawater is about 3 to 3.5%, but yeah, this is considerably more conductive than seawater. Probably like Dead Sea salt seawater or something, which is pretty salty. Anyway, so what I've got to do is, because we've got the ground or instantaneous ground balance, I've got to present this to the coil and then hit the ground balance, because the workflow with this detector is not the same as your regular detector. Normally you'd wave the coil around and then hit ground balance. The workflow with this detector is it already knows what the ground is, or it's got the ground samples because you've been using it. And when you hear something that doesn't, you want to do a ground balance, you press the instant ground button, and it will use the samples to instantaneously cancel the ground rather than waiting for a sample. So it's you don't have to do any waving or anything. But because of that, when you're doing these demos, I have to give it a sample and not wave the phone near the coil either. So I've got I'll present the salt, and then I've got to press the instant ground button as quickly as I can. Now, I really would like a foot pedal, but anyway, I'm going to try and I'll just position the mouse clicker over it, and now I'll present it and then put the bottle down and press the mouse clicker. So there is a salt response, and there it is. Right, and it's grabbed a value, and it's substantially cancelled. It hasn't totally cancelled it, but it's substantially cancelled because it is a very strong. The salt comes up like a regular target. So yeah, it's not the same K value as a ferrite, but now you can see that the noise has reduced after we've balanced, and the target. So we've got our foil. What does that do? That's kicking in at about 60 centimetres. So the sensitivity is not the same as with the ferrite ground balance. So the salt does knock a lot out of the signal, but that was a very strong bottle of salt. So it represents a large liquid conductor. But it is still responding to targets. And now if we get the salt again and wave it around, we shouldn't see really any response in the bottom trace, which is the output from the detector. And there we have it. So that's the salt response, and that's the response. It did, even though the threshold, it looks like it's crossing the threshold there, it didn't trigger the detector because there's a lot more smoothing that occurs inside the detector before it hits the audio. So it did cancel the salt, and I'm pretty happy with that. So anyway, that's Instaground and the salt and the Instaground button.